Okay. So the underlying energy, not what I'm feeling. I'm not feeling that. I don't like that. So the Nine of Swords is your underlying energy, family. That talks about stress, anxiety, not sleeping very well. Oh, the King of Wands underneath here. Y'all stressed about a King of Wands, male or female. Doesn't have to be anyone, any gender specific. But that does tell me that y'all are stressed out about a particular individual, or maybe someone's sad about a fire sign, Aries or Sagittarius. For some of you guys are really stressed out about perhaps yourselves, about who you are, about who you've become, the actions that you take, what you're doing as far as your life goes, living life to the fullest in your eyes, because this is talking about looking at the patterns in your relationships. And I feel like there's something here that may have to do with your confidence level, or maybe having to do with taking a step in the direction that's truly 100% you, or maybe this has to do with having more fun and enjoying your life a lot more. Because if this is your site here, which is typically how I read my client readings on my soulmate investigation option on my Instant Go page, then this tells me you're fucking bored, guys. You're bored out of your gosh darn minds. Your mind is like bleh, pretty much like, I'm not interested in this, I'm not interested in that, everything's the same, I don't care. So when I see this card here, it's like, yeah, either y'all are just tired of living a very mundane life, which kind of can make sense, right? You're tired of living this mundane life, but I also kind of get this vibe from you guys that you're also not interested in you're unsure about how things will be if you did break that mundane life. The other person's kind of doing the same sort of lingo here. Like, they're very focused on doing the usual tasks, handling things. This is the way they're supposed to handle it. They're moving very slowly. They're also taking their time with situations. But I kind of get this feeling that this person is, looking to, I think it's weird. They see this relationship as something of great value, which is why it needs to take a very slow time for them, if that makes sense. They're taking their time, they're taking it slow because they see the great value in it. They don't want to rush it, they don't want to push it, because they understand that, or maybe they feel, not understand, but they feel that this relationship deserves the times that it needs for it to be be as strong as it needs to be. And I'm like, you're like, where are you getting that from? Well, take a look at where they're coming from, which is this Eight of Pentacles here, as the reason as to why they think the way they think. The reason why they think the way they think or act the way they act is because the Eight of Pentacles, they think that they're putting in great work. They think they're putting in hard, diligent work, and they think they're really putting in their elbow grease into this situation, right? I think they also understand that there is a need for work to be done here, because as a matter of fact, if they think they're doing it, then it's like, okay, where? Because they're waiting. Now, this Three of Wands in the present moment, right, or how they're showing themselves in the physical world, in the physical plane here, because we got mental, physical, and spiritual here. How they're showing themselves physically, their actions, their behavior, their ego, they're waiting on something. They're expecting on some sort, expecting some return, expecting some sort of something to come back to them. Now, at the same time, it could be that they're preparing themselves for what's to come. So their mindset is already on. They're already like at work and just doing the things that they need to do, and they're just waiting for the opportunity to present itself for them to do, to either offer something because they see something that they want. Or they're just like, they're waiting for whatever opportunity to open the door to, whatever opportunity comes in and take charge on that. But you guys on this side, if this is you, Aquarius, y'all tired. You're just bored. You want some excitement. You want something new, something fresh. None of this old stuff. None of the stuff that you've been with. And because you've experienced some stuff, or you've experienced a lot, or you feel like you've been around the block, right? You kind of feel like, with all these options, what really is fun? And I think this is honestly not a bad card, the Seven of Cups, because it can influence ideas and new, dreams and fantasy. It doesn't, it's not a bad thing. Now, what I do see here is that for some of you guys, if you guys are really in tune to your intuition and you guys are tarot readers of your own, your own guidance system, whatever, which is awesome, and never downplaying that. Some of you guys may be having, not psychic attack dreams, but dreams where you are interacting in them. Like, there's something in regards to interactive dreaming somewhere, or dreams where there's like where it's definitely affecting your either your day-to-day, your energy levels, what have you. Because you got here, the card for not really sleeping very well, and then you have the Seven of Cups, which is dreams anyways, fantasies. It's not reality, but you're trying to find what's real through the unrealistic, you know what I mean, through the glitz and glamour. It's like all that glitters card in this deck, but you're just kind of like trying to find what's the hidden meaning behind behind each of these cups, and if that hidden meaning behind that cup is truly what you want to pursue. So you guys are trying to figure out what makes you happy. Some of you guys are still in the process of kind of, figuring out, going through Fantasyland, trying to entertain an imaginative portion of your life, trying to at least generate some imagination to come up with, conjure. And it's hard to do when you've already experienced half of the stuff you experienced. So you're doing all this based on relying on what you know. And I feel like what you have to do right now, guys, is truly go on faith, go on a different direction, go on a different journey, go on an adventure in an area in which you don't know. Touch on territory that you didn't think of. And it's hard to do, especially when you're like, I only know what I know. I can't know something that I don't. But you do know what you don't. You have everything laid out in front of you of exactly what you've already experienced. What things, after those things, what is there? What else is there? And if you can't truly come up with anything, that could be really hard in itself, right? Then if there's an opportunity that you've never heard before, I think it's important to take an opportunity, or take that opportunity and figure out what it really what the real hidden meaning is behind it before truly accepting it as your truth or as your new adventure. You know what I mean? But I feel like there's a lot of emphasis on what you already know. There's always an emphasis on what you've already experienced. So the reason as to why you think the way you think and presenting yourself the way you present yourself is because of everything you've experienced. It's because of this desire to go on a new adventure, to start anew, to do something differently than the usual. You want to start again, start fresh. It's understandable that you want a new beginning, but how are you going to get this new beginning, right? It's like, what do you need to do? And it starts by what your patterns are, right? And I feel like ultimately your patterns and your behavior do need to change, not because you're doing something bad, but only because in order for you to start something new, it has to come from you first. It always does. And again, want to be 100% clear. Because I say that does not mean that you're doing anything wrong. Doesn't mean that you're causing yourself grief. Doesn't mean you're causing yourself disappointment. Doesn't mean you're causing yourself depression. None of this is happening. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying, though, is that if you want something new, you have to tread in a different direction. You may have to do it by taking a leap of faith, because ultimately, as much as you probably want to have a bit more background before jumping into something, you kind of have to just take a leap of faith, because the Fool is coming up in your reading here, and it does indicate taking a leap of faith. Now, let's take a look at what brought you both together, which I find so odd, right? It's the Eight of Wands. And why is it odd? Well, because it's talking about communication. And I don't really see a lot of communication. I see a lot of waiting. Now, if this is a relationship in regards to waiting on somebody to respond, this person's waiting, and you're waiting. Like, either they sent out a message and you're waiting for this return, or you're trying to figure out what the fuck you want to do with that kind of message, because it could mean anything, and therefore they're waiting and handle their business. And in the meantime, as you're as you're trying to figure out how you're going to respond to this. But I feel like their message may be something that you feel you've already dealt with before. But I kind of have a feeling that this person may be doing, maybe different, or maybe handling something different, or maybe this is going to be the same time around. But I think for some of you guys are very much aware that this is going to be the same shit over again. So it's interesting that the way you guys meet has a lot to do with communication, instant messages, back and forth communication, or that the fact is that you guys met during a time where things were really picking up speed, where things were moving very fast, where there was a lot of progression in your life. But the challenges that you guys face is the Five of Cups. So the Five of Cups, being that this is a challenge that you both face, like if you notice, the person is looking at the Three Cups that you're looking at here, but this is spilt over. This is done. This, in your mindset, is still up. It's still something you experience, but this is done. This is gone. The challenge, the challenge to me is weird because it doesn't feel like it's saying, yeah, the challenge is about moving on, moving forward from that. And I don't think it's the case, because this is spilled and now it's gone already. And this one, you're still seeing this as like, something you've already experienced. And I feel like, yes, you've experienced loss already, but because you've experienced loss, do you want anything? Like, is there something that you want? Like, you don't know what you want because you don't want to experience loss, but you also do want to want. So you're still trying to figure out what it is that you want. It's in the air. But then you have the Two of Cups. So it's interesting, right? It's really interesting, this message, the challenge that you're facing, because it's not like a traditional Five of Cups message where, oh, you guys gotta just get over it. Get over the old times, get over the sadness, get over the pain, honor your emotions 100%, of course, but what's lost is lost, but only you can do what you can do now with what you have. I kind of get that feeling that's not really the message, because I feel like you guys are not dwelling over what's lost. You guys are more trying to figure out how you can do new things even after everything you've experienced, even if it was a loss, even everything that you've lost. Not that you don't want to experience that loss again, because I think a lot of you guys don't want to experience the loss again, but even if you did, it's a new adventure. And you're like, how do I do that? Like, you don't know exactly how to go about it, experiencing something different, because you don't want to experience the same BS again, but you do want to have a new adventure. But the Two Cups behind you is almost like saying that there are solutions, but it starts by you shifting your energy, shifting your focus, shifting the energy back to you, shifting energy back to who you are, back to, it's weird. It's like not necessarily back to love, but it's almost like I don't know how else to describe this. It's like, it's on the tip of my tongue, but it's almost like shifting the the eyes, your attention from these Three Cups that are spilled over to it could be back to love, honestly. And I don't want to say that because I don't feel like that is really what it's trying to tell me. But with the Two of Cups being two people, I think starting new friendships, meeting new people, and doing so without the expectation. I think that's kind of what there it is. It's love comes in all forms. You guys teach us that, with Valentine's Day being in your time of year during Aquarius season. We learn unconditional love on Valentine's Day. We learn unconditional love the entire Aquarius season. But I feel like this is one of those things, right? I feel like you guys are trying to shift your focus towards new possibilities, new lives, new dreams, but it's hard to do when you don't have a crew, when you don't have friends, and you don't have people you can connect with. And I feel like in that sense, you kind of isolated yourself in a way. Like, you've isolated yourself, and you don't really know how to not isolate yourself and protect yourself all at the same time. It's like you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, or a hard place and a rock place, whatever. And it kind of feels like you guys want to protect yourself from whatever the situation was, but you also want to have new relationships, but you don't really want to do all the work that you've just done with that all over again. Like, you got that lesson good and it's drilled in, but you don't really want to be by yourself either. You know what I mean? It's weird. I'm gonna pull one more for it. Yeah, Two of Pentacles. Juggling, trying to make a decision, a practical decision, and it feels like it could be about boundaries, man. Because the Two of Pentacles is about juggling. Is either juggling stuff, making sure there's a balance, but ignoring. It's like that, ignoring your emotions sort of bit. But I feel like you're trying to figure out what's worth the trouble, not really worth the trouble, but like, you're trying to figure out which of these options are more valuable and worth pursuing to you, And that makes a lot of sense. Now, why does this person have the Eight of Pentacles as the reason? Wow. As the reason as to why that they're working so hard, or the reason why they have the Eight of Pentacles is the reason why they're presenting themselves as Three of Wands and the Knight of Pentacles, and it's because of the Six of Cups. Yeah, they know that there's work that needs to be done with this connection. And I think you guys are just trying to move on. You all have totally different stories here, but you guys have very similar stuff going on. Both of you guys are like waiting for some sort of epiphany or something to come in and click, something to just make sense. But I feel like the only way for things to make sense is if you change yourself to make sense, if that makes sense. To make whatever you're waiting for make sense, you have to be the person that adjusts to what needs to change to make the sense. Because look at the pattern in your relationships, and then everything here with this person's action oriented, and all of this over here for you guys. If this is you guys, if you resonate with this side at all, all emotion pretty much. Whoa. So let's take a look here and see what other advice or information we can get to kind of help tie this reading up. Regeneration. Wow, that's interesting. Because this is very similar to Judgment in the tarot, where, the situation may seem like, all is lost, there's not really much to recover. But then, the tree still, starts to bloom and starts to grow despite the volcano coming in and pretty much burning everything away, right? This is the life coming back from a situation that, you thought was dull, thought was over. And I feel like, so that's even more powerful, right? I think the thing is that you guys are bored and having a hard time figuring out how to start life again, because what had died is a piece of you that's gone with it, but you still have that fiery energy, you still have that passion, you still have that excitement. What we saw here with the King of Wands and the Nine of Swords, you are not the same person that started out with all this situation. Like, you've done the fool's journey millions of times, and you've gotten all those lessons, but you want to be that fool, but not that knows everything and doesn't have to kind of run into all those, crazy calamities again, right? The problem isn't the fact that you've experienced loss. It's like, how do you become the youthful, the youthful spirit that you are, that, how do you let yourself be who you are, and still understand that everything still happens for, not understand everything happens for a reason, but still pursue life as if you had no idea what was coming at all. How do you approach the situation in a very youthful way but not be naive? So how can you embrace yourself completely, youthfully and all, and not be, and not make the same mistakes that you've done before, or not go in the direction that you've already experienced? How can you be the fresh and new energy that's experienced, that knows everything, that's done everything? It's a hard one, family. And I feel like it's because, I feel like with regeneration, it's saying that you already are those things. You have this, you already are doing it. If you see yourself as already being that person that's youthful and energetic, that's been around the block, then there's really nothing more you could do other than to act like the fool is. Just go on a new adventure, just start something fresh. Pick a path, pick a journey, pick a dream, and then run with it and see how you like it. You can know the outcome of it, or you can trust that you'll be able, to trust that in the moment of everything that's happening, you'll allow your seasoned self to take care of you as you have your youthful side just explore it and be free and to be your youthful self, right? It's an interesting reading this time. And it's weird because the soulmate energy is very, how it's added into this almost feels alien to it, It almost feels like it's not even a part of this. It's like this whole reading is about one person individually, and the other person has a whole different mindset. But the way they're doing this too is like they're looking to repair something, or they're looking to build on a sort of relationship of the past. This person's issue here would be the original meaning I would have for that Five of Pentacles, Five of Cups rather, that you see here as the regular challenge for you, because this person is trying to relieve or like try to overcome the struggles or the loss of the past to really, to reconnect with the person that they have, that they still feel connected to, which is the Six of Cups. And I don't know what they're waiting on. That's the part that's interesting to me. What is this person waiting on? What is this person expecting? And what does that have to do with you? The Two of Cups. Holy crap. Soulmate card after soulmate card. Family, this is crazy. Six of Cups, Two of Cups, Five of Cups, even the Two of Cups is just right there. This person is dedicated to this relationship. They see themselves perhaps as younger, not very mature, but they also are very responsible in the sense of how they go, as far as their process goes. I think they have to allow themselves to be kindred spirits as well. Like nothing super serious, but because I feel like you are like the epitome of what this person is trying to be. Trying to be the young, youthful individual that has methods and strategies and a structure so firm, so strong that even a tornado could knock you down, right? You're so, like I said, seasoned, aware, experienced enough. You know what you need to know. But you also can be that relaxed, youthful self. And I feel like this person here is so uptight, which is why the stress is coming up here too, is because there's a piece of them that brought out that youthfulness, that childhood energy, that part of them that can be that carefree like you are. And like I said, if this is you, right, it could be the other person here. But this person here is like really working on the relationship. But what they're waiting on and how this has to do with you, they're waiting on the Two of Cups because and how it has to do with you is because you're their Two of Cups. You're their soulmate. You are their soulmate, man. So they're waiting. Or they expect something to return. They expect you to return, or they expect some sort of opportunity to present themselves for there to be an opportunity for there to be some sort of reconnection.